When, as a child, you hear you are bad from one person, it hurts. But if someone else in the family says something similar, you can start to believe it. Their criticism can hurt even more. As adults, we don't enjoy being criticized by toxic people, but for children, it is so much more hurtful. That is because when we're children, we can't really reject the criticism of adults. We believe everything is true. Then, if our teachers or other students attack or bully, the effect can be to make us thoroughly believe we are terrible human beings. Maybe that's the reason why it can take so long to figure out that some people are toxic, and the problem is really with their behavior, not ours. That's why it's one of the essential steps toward healing that a person start to gather not just an awareness of their parents, but as complete of a family history as possible. Sometimes an extended family member that we had limited contact with in our early childhood years can still do a huge amount of damage. For instance, we may have an idea that one of our parents is toxic even when we're very small, especially when they snap and pour out their rage on us. We might not have been aware of it at all times, but occasionally we just knew there was something wrong with that parent. There was some comfort in knowing maybe all the anger directed at us wasn't correct. But if someone else outside of the immediate family treated us the same way, it took all that comfort away. If that other adult treated us with contempt or deeply shamed us, it might have cut even deeper. Maybe our parent was right after all. The other family member reinforced our negative view of ourselves. I will share a personal story of a memory that came up for me that can illustrate how much damage a toxic extended family member can do. Hopefully this will not be triggering for you. It does not involve sexual or physical abuse. But I learned so much from this one experience, and it took a huge load off of me that I wanted to share how much healing can be achieved if you are willing to look into the past and your pain. I had a memory come up that was somewhat triggered by a small event. About 12 hours later, I realized that something must have happened in my past that made me so triggered by such a small thing. And then I realized that something had happened when I was 3 years old. I had an awareness that it was my uncle. He was standing over me very angry and accusing me of being bad. It was a very short event and there was no physical contact of any kind involved. But I was aware of the intense shame that he made me feel, and this expression of hatred and rage on his face made me think, I must be a very terrible person indeed. Later, I went into the room with all the other family members and he continued to glare at me, which reinforced the idea that I was bad. All of this happened over just a few seconds, but somehow it stayed with me for the rest of my life. As I was reliving this memory, I realized that it had affected me in two major ways. One was my view of myself, and the other my view of men. It contributed to social anxiety and a negative view of myself, probably just as much as anything my narcissistic parent did. And as things were lifting off of me, I could feel that things were really going to change. It's so frustrating that this was an uncle that I really wasn't around that much. But it shows how much a small amount of time with a toxic person when we are very young can affect us. This is why the healing work can make such a huge change in your life. You may think that certain things that you do are just part of your personality or just the way you are. Or you may feel like there are some habits that you just can't seem to get rid of and maybe you should just try to live with them. But by doing the healing work, you will slowly realize all of the emotional weight that was put on you at an early age. And as it slowly starts to lift away, You will become the real, happy, peaceful you that you are always supposed to be. If you need help in how to proceed on your healing journey, please feel free to check out my website in the video description below. Obviously, there is pain associated with healing, but it's very temporary, and the end results are that you can feel more comfortable just being you.